Hello, I'm Anthony, and this is Still Earth. Nice to have your company. Thanks for dropping by. I hope you're going well. I hope you are fit and well in this, the day of the COVID-19. If isolation hasn't sent you insane right now, I think you're doing really, really well, and it looks like you'll do fine. I myself, well, we do fine. But I am grateful for that. It seems like there are a lot of people suffering. And I know, like we said last time, there are a lot of people that have lost their jobs and things are very uncertain. It's a very uncertain time. So there will be a little bit of tension. There will be things pop up at the moment for you to solve that will feel like they're unsolvable. And that's okay. Basically, in this life, we get a whole stack of lessons. There are a whole stack of problems that keep coming at us. And it is our duty to learn from those problems, to learn those lessons so we can move on. And over the last videos and things like that, we've often talked about solving our problems, not putting them aside, not trying to hide them or make out they don't exist, but actually fessing up and solving the problem, becoming the stronger part of the equation. So now there are three ways to learn a lesson. There are three ways to solve a problem. The first one is the easy way. So if you come up with a problem, the easy way to solve it is to go and talk to someone. Find someone who has had something similar. You'll be surprised, there are a lot of people out there that have similar problems. So in their advice, you may find some things that help you work through the problem. Know enough, learn enough that now the problem becomes solvable and you can move on. The second way to learn the lesson is what we call the hard way. That's probably what you and I have done most of our lives. We learn the lesson the hard way. Our parents say, don't drive too fast or you'll run off the road and crash. We don't learn that lesson until we've run off the road and crashed. That's learning the lesson the hard way. But we will learn the lesson. Next time, hopefully, we won't drive so fast around the corner and we won't run off the road because we learnt the lesson the hard way. The third way is the lesson that we don't learn, and that's called the lesson of infinity. That's when we keep coming up against a problem and we just try to push it aside or ignore it or push it down within us so we don't have to theoretically deal with it. That's the infinity problem, and we will deal with that until the day we die. Remember when we're talking about cleaning the plate? This is the classic not cleaning the plate. And if we leave this on the plate, tomorrow the plate's going to get bigger and bigger, and you and I both know at the moment we're having too many calories. We need to clean the plate. The Infinity 8, remember, looks like this. Back here in the Infinity 8 of life, we have the past. Here where it crosses over is the present. That's right now. And then we get to move into the future if at the present we deal with what we need to deal with and we get to move on. That's our reward. If we don't try and solve the problem the easy way or at least the hard way, then we get stuck in the past. And I promise you the lesson will come at you again and again and again. It will not go away until you know enough to move past. When you go past go, you might not collect $200, but you'll come into a different future. When you solve that moment, when that problem is solved, you'll move past that and move on into another future. So you want to solve the problem one way or the other. Don't let it go. Don't mistake the fact that if you push it down deep enough, at some point you'll push it so deep that it will never come back. It will come back. You will always get tested. The infinity issue, the infinity problem never ever goes away. At some point you're going to have to tough up. Rowan said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Wish you knew more. When you know how to solve the problem goes away. It's just when the problem sits here and remains here and you're still looking at it from here in fear and doubt and anger and anxiety that it feels almost insurmountable and it feels like it's never going away, but you're not learning enough. There was a great story from the Midwest in America. Back in the late 1800s, they started pushing cattle out into Minnesota and those areas out in the plains. Now it gets very, very cold there. What were happening with the longhorn of the day is that when the storms would come, when the blizzards would come, these cattle had a habit of turning their back to the wind and moving downwind until they hit a fence or a barrier, and then they would just stand there and be covered with snow, and the ranchers would find that they would lose up to 60-70% of their stock overnight. At some point in the early 1900s, the Hereford cattle were introduced into the region. Now, they did something extraordinarily different. When the blizzards came, the ranchers found that the Herefords turned into the storm. They walked until they hit a fence or an obstacle, and then they stopped, and they stoically bowed their heads and shook off the snow for as long as it took, and the farmers lost virtually no cattle from there on in. They stood in the storm, and they turned towards it, and they survived it because that's what they did. The farmer who wrote that book, the stockman who wrote that book, said he learnt the best lesson of his life from his new Hereford herd: to stand and face the storm. As scary as that is, sometimes we need to ask the really big questions. We need to get to the heart of it. We need to work out how to solve it and move past it, so we can look back in a year's time and go, you know what? I didn't even know what I was worried about. That wasn't such a big problem. Looking from here back, it wasn't such a big deal. I wish I turned into the storm earlier. And that's what I want for you. Turn into the storm. As scary as it is, it will be less painful. It will be less painful to stand in the storm. Put your shoulders back. Feel the courage and deal with the issue. Learn how to get past your problem and put it in the past where it belongs. Until we meet again, you have a good one. Take it easy on the turns.